4 minutes. So if you clicked on this training today because you know there's a reason that you're not getting as well as you'd like to be in your mind, body, and health, then you're in the right place because I'm going to help you guys to connect the dots between your brain, your body, and your overall health and well being. Often there are missing pieces that get overlooked when we are on our health journey, and we're seeing many providers and they're treating the stomach over here, and they're treating um, the brain over here, right? And really, everything's all connected. We're an integrated system. So, what we like to do in integrative and functional medicine is treat the self as a whole, which includes your body, your mind, and your spirit. So that's a lot to do with what we're going to be speaking about today, because with us at Neurosynergy, healing is more like a puzzle where we're going to be bringing those pieces together into a cohesive, holistic picture and helping you get to the root cause of what's going on with your health and well-being. So we've waited just a few minutes here. Um, and I just want to remind everyone that you're not broken. And that is the theme of what we're going to be talking about today, because it can often feel like that when we're in our health journey. It can often feel like we are, right? Like we are going here and there from provider to provider, taking different types of treatments and supplements, and things just really aren't getting any better. But there is a reason why smart, sensitive people still can feel stuck, exhausted, and foggy. And we're also going to be talking a lot about what helps. So I want to take a moment here and invite you to fill out the attendance. This will be important so that I can send you your live bonus. So if you are here and you are attending live, there is a special interactive workbook for you that I'll be sending. So please fill out the attendance so that I can send that over to you. I'll be dropping it in the chat later as well. So this is the first night of a 3-part series of Overwhelm to Coherence. And today is all about talking about how to connect those pieces. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for taking the time out of your life, out of your schedule to be with me today. This is gentle education for sensitive nervous system. You don't need perfect notes, and there's nothing to perform. I just want you to be present and receive what is available for you today. If you don't mind sharing, where are you joining from? If you could drop that in the chat, let me know where you are in the world. I am in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So that is where we are going live from. And it's okay if you don't want to share, but I would love to know just generally in the world where you are. Okay. So tonight, I told you a moment ago, we're going to be exploring what's happening beneath the surface when we have symptoms like poor sleep, brain fog, sensitivity to stress and environment, overwhelming fatigue, and sometimes it's a matter of just not feeling quite like yourself, trying very hard, but making little progress. And so tonight we're going to discover a powerful framework that I use to help people identify their next healing step. And it's not just information, but it's insight, which is very important because insight and awareness is the first step that we can take on our journeys. I would love everyone to take a moment and to check inside of yourself. How overwhelmed, stressed, or dysregulated do you feel right now in this moment? You don't need to tell me the answer to that. I want you to just maybe jot it down in your mind on a sheet of paper. We're going to talk about it again later, but it's just a good time to take that opportunity and check in with yourself. Where am I at today? How am I feeling? And another question for you. What are you grateful for today? That is so important. Even one small moment counts. And even if you've not had the greatest of days, there's always something. I know there have been times in my life where toilet paper was at the top of that list. And I know that that sounds funny, but we always have something, no matter how small, to be grateful for. And that matters because gratitude helps the brain shift out of threat mode and into receptivity. So take a moment and think about that thing that you feel grateful for. Really think about it, internalize it, be present with it. And gratitude changes the brain. So there is science behind that insight. When we focus even briefly on things that we are grateful for, the safety circuits in the brain, they activate. That stress chemistry is able to soften, and your resilience pathways are strengthened. So even those small shifts matter, and remember that small shifts done repeatedly over time is how you create new pathways. Your nervous system can change. So neuroplasticity is a big word, but it just basically means that you do have the ability and the power over your brain and nervous system. You can change your trajectory in any given moment. But it starts with those small shifts in that place of awareness that we talked about just a few moments ago. And now that you've done that, I want you to check in again. And how stressed are you now after thinking about what you're grateful for? Has that number shifted at all? Even if it's only 1 point, those small changes do matter. And it's an indication for you, and it should provide you some hope that my body is responsive. It's able to change, it's adaptable. And that's very important when you're on the journey of healing with health and well being. So, hi everyone. I'm Dr. Sarah Young. I'm an integrative medicine doctor. Also, previously, I was a medical speech pathologist. I don't work in that realm so much anymore, but my focus is on functional medicine, nervous system regulation, and brain body healing. But more than the credentials that are behind my name, I'm also someone who's personally walked through both brain injury and the invisible symptoms, as well as the frustration of trying everything and going from provider to provider and not feeling like myself. And that experience shaped my life, and it also shaped the mission of what it is in neurosynergy and what we're all about and what we're trying to bring to the world. So years ago, I was working as a medical speech pathologist in the hospital setting, helping people recover from brain injuries, from strokes, from debilitating conditions like dementia and Parkinson's disease and other neurological challenges. I was very happy in the work that I did. It's very rewarding when you get to work with people and you get to help them recover after something like neurological changes are at the forefront of their life. I was building programs in the hospital. I was a certified brain injury specialist. And then one morning, everything changed. So on my way to work at that same hospital that I just mentioned, a tree fell down on the road due to a storm. And I was driving along on my way, and there was the tree, and there was nowhere for me to go. So I made a split-second decision, and I hydroplaned into a telephone pole by trying to avoid that tree. And then I fell through every crack in the medical system as we know it. So that has what has created the fire in me going through that experience was life changing. And in hindsight, it was very teaching. I can remember being in the ER bed and the hospital staff carting me around in my bed. And it was almost like I was a sack of potatoes, like I wasn't even a human. The way that they were handling my body, handling my care was very disconnected. And it was very, very emotional to be on the other end of healthcare as a healthcare provider, but it's also vital that I had that experience so that I was able to see where these holes were and to be able to start to work at eliciting some change. So that car accident it resulted in a brain injury. And in fact, it wasn't my first, it was my seventh. And if you're not familiar with the realm of brain injury, they're quite cumulative. So when you have one and then you have another one, each one after that tends to be a little bit worse, which is why it wasn't necessarily the worst accident. I had had other injuries to my brain when I had been younger that were much more severe in terms of physically what that looked like. But this one impacted my thinking, my memory, my balance, my ability to walk, my ability to drive, my ability to do everything that my life as at the time, single mom of two teenagers was responsible for. And even working inside the healthcare system, I still fell through the cracks. I still was missed, did not get the things that I needed. And ultimately, I was told, this is as good as it's going to get. This is the way that your life is going to be now. But I did not want to accept that. I like to just say that I'm probably just very stubborn and I don't like it when people tell me how my life is going to go. I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to create this other path, but I was willing to start digging, start looking. And so on that path, that's why neurosynergy exists today. It's because of what I had to deal with in my own life, and then subsequently seeing what other people were also going through. Obviously, I wasn't the only one. And if you're here, it's probably because you're one of those people as well. You've probably gone from provider to provider and you're not getting the answers that you need, or they're shuffling you around, or I understand, I've been there. But I want you to understand that your symptoms are not isolated events. Those are signals, okay? So if you're feeling tired, but you're wired, you're foggy in the morning, perhaps you're more reactive emotionally, perhaps things become more sensitive or stressful in your life and your environment. Maybe you're inflamed or puffy, and perhaps you're feeling stuck because you have tried everything and it isn't working the way that you would like for it to go. You're not getting better, and it's not your fault. We exist within a world that the medical system is very much designed to see only when you get to the point of no return. They're not optimizing for your health. They are only going after it when it gets to a specific state of illness. And it's not the doctor's fault. It's the way that they're trained. I'm also want to be clear that I'm not saying that the traditional medical model is bad. It's not bad. It has its place for sure. There are many times where if you break your leg, right, you're going to need a traditional medical doctor to reset it, to put a cast on it. There are plenty of times that you'll run into those scenarios where it is warranted. But what I'm suggesting is it's not the only way. It's one piece of the puzzle, and that there is an entire other opening, an entire other side to healthcare that you may not be aware of. So this is the realm of integrative and functional medicine, where we are looking at, instead of what's wrong and how do we band-aid that, or how do we mute that or suppress that, we want to know, okay, but why? Why is this symptom? What is the signal telling us? And it's not always about what you might think. It's all connected. Your gut is connected to your brain is connected to your heart, and the entire rest of your body. And that is something that we don't miss in integrative and functional medicine. Sleep is a nervous system event. This is very important for you to consider. because during deep sleep, your brain is designed to clean itself. It gets the toxins out of there that have been accumulated over the day and the things that you've experienced, the things that have come into your system that it needs to clear out, align. All of that happens when we're sleeping. And in deep sleep, you change your stress chemistry. You turn on a different mode of your nervous system into a rest, digest, relaxation. You're able to regulate your stress hormones, your cortisol, and your other hormones. This is the time that your body is repairing and restoring tissue. It's the time that you're stabilizing your blood sugar. It's the time when you're consolidating the memory of the things you've experienced throughout the day. And it's also the time where you're going to process those emotions that maybe you weren't attending to throughout the day. And if that deeper repair doesn't fully happen, your system remains in protection mode. And protection mode is when everything is on alert and it's trying to make sure that we're safe, that things are well. And if you're always in that state of being, it's going to be very hard to get deep rest. Once again, it's so important for you to understand that sleep is a nervous system event. I'm gonna drop in here tonight's live booklet for specifically this training. I mentioned earlier that this is a 3-night series. It's tonight, which is Tuesday, May 5th. And then there'll be a completely different topic on May the 12th from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and yet another completely different event on May the 19th. And for each of those events, they all have their own special workbook and exclusive bonuses that we'll talk a little bit about as we go through today. So safety is survival. When your system feels unsafe, it chooses survival. We are hardwired to choose survival. And survival can look like inflammation. It can look like inability to lose weight. It can look like more cravings for things that you wish you didn't crave. It can look like your hormones being disrupted, fragmented sleep and reactivity. This is not weakness. This isn't you doing life poorly. This is simply biology of an interconnected system of the gut, the brain, the hormones, and many other systems coming together like an orchestra. And it can't just work with one instrument because you're not just one body part. You're not just, if you go to a gastroenterologist and they just treat your stomach, that's great that they're helping you with your stomach, but your stomach is also connected to both your brain, your heart, and everything else. Safety creates momentum. So when your nervous system feels safe, you're going to be able to lose weight if that's a goal for you. You're going to be able to have deeper, more restorative sleep. Your mood will be steadier. You'll have less cravings. Your thinking will be more clear. Your energy will be sustainable throughout the day, and you'll have more hope. So safety creates momentum. So I always like to talk about micro movements. Is there something small that you could do today or tonight, depending on where you're coming in from and what time zone you're in? Is there something that you can do from now until the end of the day that would bring you more safety? That is a question that I would love for you to answer in the chat if you can. And if not, write it down on a piece of paper in a notebook, on a note-taking app in your phone, whatever you prefer that works for you. So when you notice what's happening in your body without judging it, right? Something does shift. So your prefrontal cortex, that is located right here in the front of your head, just behind your forehead, it comes back online. And when your prefrontal cortex is working and it's online, you'll be able to think clearly, problem solve, figure out what to do next. If something happens, you'll be a lot more clear to find the solution to whatever problem comes throughout your day. Your threat response softens, your body starts to feel seen and supported. Awareness, all on its own, can also be a signal of safety because we're paying attention to our bodies, to ourselves, and our well being. So another check-in, I really like check-ins. Mostly it's to do with that awareness, right? So when we're aware of what's happening in our brain, our body, and our nervous system, that is the first step to be empowered to make changes in our health and well-being. So check in with your body. Where do you notice tension? You can do it on a scale of 1 to 10. You can do a scan if you've ever done a scan. So go inside and kind of scan your body from your head to your toes. Where do I feel tension right now? And what about safety? How are you feeling with your safety on a scale from 1 to 10? Again, you're welcome to place that in the chat. And you're also welcome to keep those numbers to yourself. Whatever makes you feel better in this moment. I don't want you to fix anything. I just want you to notice it. Be present with it. I'm going to give you just a moment or so to consider that. So I want to do this part together. I want you to inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, and I'll use my fingers to count. We're going to exhale slowly with pursed lips, like fish lips almost. Okay. And we're going to exhale for 6 seconds. We want that exhalation to be a little bit longer than that inhalation. We'll repeat this for several rounds, and this is just one way of helping to reset your nervous system. So here we go. We're going to breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Pursed lips out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in. 2, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do it again. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, let's breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Pursed lips and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do that again. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One last time. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just sit there for a moment, be present with your body. Bring your breathing into a more natural rhythm. No need to force it, just let it reset. And let's check in again. So where is that number now? Your tension. Did it shift? Did it change? And what about your sense of safety? And I want to emphasize again that even 1 point of a shift matters. That is your physiology responding to what you're doing with your body and for your health and well-being. Small changes are stacked, you guys. So what is a journey? It's 1,000 small steps. It's not one big leap. And thank your body for doing that activity with you, right? For being present with what that is. So you just sent a safety signal when you did that breathing. So that longer exhalation, it activates the part of your nervous system that's able to rest, digest, repair. It activates it's also called your parasympathetic response. That's that rest and digest. It's your sense of safety, right? When we're activated, our sympathetic nervous system jolts online, ready for defending us, ready for protecting us. And when you send those safety signals, you're really sending a message to your brain, to your body, that we're safe and it's okay to relax. It helps us to stabilize emotionally, and it really starts to downshift that cortisol. So when we are living a life and we're often very stressed, our cortisol can be high at many times throughout the day. And the more you practice these things of relaxation, your body listens to the breath more quickly than it listens to the thoughts that you're thinking in your brain about what am I going to do about this, that, or the other, right? So again, you just sent a safety signal. And I want to also point out that that's inside of you, right? So you don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to do anything at any given time if you can. When you start to panic, when you start to feel overwhelmed, I want you to remember you have the power to create that safety signal. I love this. I had so much fun creating this. So many people do not feel well and they don't know where to begin. So I created a quiz specifically for that. So I'm going to drop it in the chat. And there are some questions in there to look at what part of you needs more attention. Is it your stress and regulation? Or maybe you're doing really well in that area and you're practicing these types of breathing and relaxation things each day. Perhaps it's, brain fog and clarity. Perhaps there's some gut brain stuff going on. Maybe you're having some hormonal shifts. So it's really gonna kind of look and see what parts of you need attention. Is it that you need to renew your energy, your physical healing, your body? So it's going to look in that realm. And then remember, although it says their emotional reconnection and purpose, when I think about that particular group, that category, um, I'll have to say that when I had, especially the last brain injury coming around the other side of it, I really wasn't exactly sure who I was anymore and what I wanted to do. Right. And so the remember pathway, I think we should never forget that in health and in healthcare and in healing, right? The part of us that our core, who we are. Sometimes healing starts with going through the right doorway. And sometimes there might be more than one doorway that you would benefit from walking through. But if you'd like some help understanding the pathway that your quiz designs, I'll share how to connect with me to go over your personal quiz results in just a bit. So, seeing the whole picture is so important because clarity cannot improve if we are treating the body like a bunch of parts. A lot of people experience brain fog and they think it's just stress or it's just aging. But brain fog can be influenced by a variety of factors: poor sleep, inflammation, blood sugar swings, stress hormones, nervous system overload, and lack of recovery. And looking at the whole picture helps for clarity to improve. And there's a lot that goes into it. So I would encourage you to consider that if you're here because you're feeling like you're not getting better and you know that there has to be more, there is more. There is more. I've dedicated my life to figuring out what more is all the time. And I really enjoy that. It's really and truly a blessing that we have the ability to learn about ourselves, to dig into that, to heal ourselves on many, many levels. So, a lot of times we think that healing is about doing more stuff. If I only do X, Y, and Z actions, if I just do this, if you go to the gym, they'll tell you that, oh, strength training, that's what you need to do. And if you go to a nutritionist, they're going to tell you eating this specific food, that's what's for you. But often it's less about doing more and more about doing the right things in the right order. That's why understanding that primary pathway in the quiz does matter. So, for some people, the first step for them is to reset. And for others, it may be to rewire, it may be to renew, and it may be to remember. Each of us is individual. So, that's the beauty in integrative and functional medicine is we're not looking at your parts, but we're looking at you as a whole. And we're considering all of the things, right? Your physical body, your environment, the relationships in your life, your spirituality, your emotional resilience, the thoughts that you think. The list is long. And if we're going to heal in a way that's complete, we've got to look at the whole puzzle. So the right starting point creates momentum for you to create lasting change. So you don't have to do this alone. If you are here tonight for our series, and remember that there is a gentle space where you can stay supported while you're on your health journey. So we do have that group there, which is interesting. There's another group that you would have gotten in your email, and I'm sure I can also find it. Let me see if I can find it for you because we have another group as well, where you can go and be with people that are very similar to you and going through the same things that you are. And I will drop that. Ooh, there it is. Perfect. I knew I had that. Here we go. If you want to join our group of people going through the same things you are, trying to figure out what that right doorway is. And in that group, you guys are welcome to check in with us, check in with each other, ask questions, notice patterns you might be experiencing. And it also will help you be accountable and consistent alongside others who understand exactly what you are going through. Because healing doesn't just happen by digesting a bunch of information, right? It happens through connection. It happens through support. And if this resonates with you, if you're noticing yourself in this, you're ready to understand your body and what's going on with your health on a deeper level, you're welcome to schedule a no charge brain body clarity consult. So, this is a personalized session where we can look at your healing pathway quiz results if you want and talk about what you found and what might work for you. And we can review what those patterns are. We can start to look at root contributors to what's going on with your health and well being, as well as mapping out those clear next steps. So, there's no pressure, but there is clarity and there's always room for more clarity in my life. That is for sure. And if you guys book your consult today, I have had a lot of fun creating a lot of bonuses. So if you book this today, I'm going to go back to where I have the link if you want to book that today and drop that in the chat for you. There's a list there on screen of what I have created. These are really great things. The theme of tonight is kind of sleep, right? We've been talking a lot about sleep and a lot about the nervous system. So, my newly completed sleep reset checklist, I really wanted these to be extra special for you guys. Then there's another ebook for Eat for Rest foods and evening snacks, ideas that help you sleep naturally. And then there's Calm in a Cup. That's an ebook, and it has herbal teas and tonics so that you can unwind and get better rest. There's the Sleep Pattern Decoder, which is our Neurosynergy 7-night tracker to help you uncover what those personal patterns are with your sleep. And Wake Better, which are morning habits that will help you to get better sleep at night. And then we have an exclusive live group call with me that will be occurring on Sunday. If you sign up for your consult today, then I will send you all of those things. Make sure that you drop your name in the chat if you decide to do that today. Okay. So my next question is, what questions can I help support you with? So if there's anything that you're dealing with that maybe we didn't talk about it today, maybe it's one of our topics in one of our upcoming sessions, but right now is your time, and feel free to ask any questions that you have. So there's a pretty good chance that whatever you're thinking about, oh, I just put that in there again, didn't I? Yes, I sure did. Let's do that again. Put the group and not the consult link in there. So there's my calendar link. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat if you have any questions. If you're not comfortable sharing in public, that's okay too. Feel free to send me an email. I'll be sharing how to reach me close to the end here. I'll be showing you how to get in touch with me in all the places. I don't see any questions in the chat, but I want to thank everyone for being here. That QR code that you see right now on the screen is the link to book a consult with me. I think those QR codes are kind of fun, so I have a couple of them in here in my slide deck. But regardless of what you choose to do today, I want you to remember that you're not broken, that your body is intelligent, that your nervous system is adaptable, and that healing does become easier when you start to connect those dots. And even if you don't put your name in the chat, if you book a consult, I will send you over all of those bonuses as soon as we meet together. And I'm really excited because those are some really great information that I put together for you. There's my other QR code. How do we stay in touch? You can schedule a consult. You can look at my website. My email address is on there also. I also host the Neuroalchemy podcast. If you haven't had an opportunity to listen to it or to check it out, I might be a little biased, but I'm pretty fond of it. The theme is essentially science and soul. So not just science or soul, but science with soul. And every guest that I have had the honor of working with works in the healing space in one form or another. They might be a practitioner like myself in functional or integrative medicine. But honestly, the people on my show come from a variety of areas. So some of them are music therapists or art therapists. I've had psychologists, physicians, healers of all walks of life from all over the world. It's been super fun. Our last episode was aired on Friday, and I interviewed the founder of Muse Flow. So that entire company is based on your your brain, your body being able to learn and being able to be adaptable. In traditional learning, we would go to a teacher and they would teach us how to play the piano. But this company teaches you how to teach yourself with self-directed learning using technology, and it's quite amazing. But more than that, he talks a lot about how we're all capable of relearning. We're all neuroplastic, right? And I couldn't agree more as someone who has gone through the recovery journey myself and as someone who guides people through it also. You can listen to that on the rss.com link. Neuroalchemy is also available on iTunes, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. I'm trying to think if those are all of the audio places in RSS. And then if you would like to see the video, it's available on YouTube. And that is our channel there for Neurosynergy. And I also dropped some extra little videos that I've done that related to the podcast. Sometimes I just want to share something that's on my heart. And so I post those there. If you would like to connect with me professionally, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. That QR code that you see on this screen is actually for my electronic card that tells you all of the links. And essentially, you can just click and go instead of needing to look them up individually. And I'm a big fan of that. If I have something that makes things a little bit more streamlined, a little bit easier to do, I think it's fantastic. We're also available on Instagram, Facebook. We're on TikTok also. I must have forgotten to put it in here. But if you scan that QR code on the screen, it will be there. How do you scan that QR code? If you have never done that before, you're going to open your camera up on your electronic device, like your cell phone. And when you point your electronic device, an iPad, a cell phone, something like that, at the screen, you'll see a little yellow box kind of give the QR code on the screen a hug. When you see it give it a hug, you'll see a little link, a little box. This is not technically a box. It's more like a long oval view blink card, and that is all the ways we can stay in touch. And there might even be a few freebies on there. And there's also the links to the series that you are in. So, does anyone have any questions that I haven't talked about yet? Thank you for taking time out of your day to be here. Bye for now.